Okay.
Hey,
I think we're
Paulus.
live.
Yeah,
All right. Reed, how are you doing?
doing good. I've been setting up the smart home over here and using, of course, Home Assistant. I,
Nice.
yeah, it's crazy because the last time we moved, about 5 years ago, I was just like dabbling in smart Home Assistant. Or this time, it's the core of my smart home. So I've been like building around it essentially. And
Nice.
I know that like you were saying, like you hadn't watched some of the like latest videos, but
Yeah.
I was gonna share like some of the like you might find it interesting. There's like I came up with 5 rules for my smart home, like essentially like guidelines to help make like a really good smart home. And so far, it's been paying off like big time. Like as I've been like setting up my smart home the last couple of months, it's just been
Nice.
better than anything I could have imagined, essentially. But yeah, so the first rule was this is an obvious one for all the Home Assistant people, but everything has to work locally, like no exceptions. And
Yeah.
that's like goes without saying, obviously it's going to work
Yeah, of
super
course.
well and everything. So like anything in my house, there's nothing, it doesn't rely on the cloud. So it, super solid. But the thing that's been a real big game changer is I toured this guy's house, and he had this like thing called grandma proof. He wanted like his lights and everything to be grandma proof, and
So
so
like it still works when like Home Assistant is down and the
yeah,
grandma walks.
like grandma's coming over to watch the kids or something, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
she can still control the smart home. Like you don't need to have to use your phone for everything. Like there
right.
should be
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
some physical buttons and like things should just like if you need lights to turn off, there should be a button, like a physical button to turn it off. And yeah, so I've been doing that, and that's been awesome too because
Nice. Are
the
you using like
kids.
the modules behind the light switches or just like smart light switches or?
I've been using there's like the Zeus ones that have the sync controller buttons on it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so I just put that on the wall, and I've done
Oh,
that
so
in a
you're
few
all in
different
on
rooms.
Z-Wave.
I'm doing Z-Wave and Lutron for my
Okay.
light
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
switches. Yeah, but
Nice.
only for like lots of Z-Wave though for like lights and stuff. So yeah,
Nice.
it's still like super solid for me. And yeah, those buttons are awesome. Like my kids use it, Ali. Yeah, so that's been awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, the other one is like this is more of like a me issue, and I think other people could fall into it too. But like unnecessary automations, like just trying to avoid those because it's like once you're like, oh wow, look how powerful Home Assistant is, and you can do like so much stuff.
Oh yeah,
It's
you
easy to
go
be
into
like,
that rabbit hole, right? It's
oh
like,
yeah, yeah. It's like you can do like crazy stuff, and it's easy just to be like, ooh, what's possible? I'll make it do this and make this automation happen, and then like next thing you know, it's like annoying the family, and of
yeah.
course
I mean, you
people that
only if you have too many false positives, right? People are like, yeah,
yeah.
turn that stuff off. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like right now, I'm like right on the borderline. It's obviously it's like it's like I
well,
just
they're
set
just
up
like,
one.
yeah, it's daddy's work, right? Like,
Yeah, like I just set up one. It's really cool automation. So we don't have a doggy door right now in our house, and we're not really sure if we'll add one. But our dog, she likes to go run around the backyard. But when she wants to come in, we've been trying to teach her to like sit at the door, but she'll just sit there, and we'll like not like fully forget about her. But so I put a pressure sensor mat underneath the like,
oh,
and so
nice.
she sits on it. It announces on the like voice preview editions around the house, and it's like Annie wants to come inside, and
Oh,
so
I
it's
thought
been
you were gonna
really
go one
cool.
step further and actually open the door.
Oh yeah, I mean that'd be
That's
next
like so.
level.
Marcel, who's gonna be on later at the stream, he has this huge Bernardus dog or whatever. Like it comes to like
Uh-huh.
my waist. It's huge, and he bought one of these old doors from a hospital where like
Oh yeah.
if a person that is like in a wheelchair, they can press this button, it automatically opens.
Oh
He
whoa.
bought that, and now the dog knows to press that button to get into the house.
That's
It's really
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'll need to do something like that for sure. Like, yeah, another guy toured his house in Texas. He had an automated. He had like fully, like he had done lots of like ESPHome stuff, and he had his doggy door fully automated. Like he rebuilt like this collar and modified it so it like could tell like if his dog, so like other animals weren't going to use
Alero.
it. And,
like the new Alero smart lock standard?
Yeah,
right?
Very similar to that.
That's
yeah. I know. I need like I need that. They need to make that like super easy for like pets, like the ultra wideband.
I think it's gonna come, right?
Like so?
The standard is now in its very infancy, right? It's still like still a lot of requirements. It needs NFC and like it's pretty battery hungry.
Yeah.
But right now it's like it has never been deployed at this kind of scale of like it needs to be super efficient and run many times a day. So I think now we're going to see a lot more investment in like the chips itself, and I expect this to become a lot more mature, right? Like this is Alero 1.0, and like these are the first products with just this year at CES. Android still is about to get it, right? Like iPhone already had it because it came kind of out of the home key support that they had.
Yeah.
And so it's coming, and it will be like this is just like with Meta, right? Meta 1.0 was like, oh, where's the energy monitoring, or where is this? And now it's like, oh, cool, there's cameras and like all that stuff. So it will come, it will get better, and I'm pretty sure somebody is gonna make like a smart dog collar, like dog door thing.
Yeah, that needs to happen. Yeah, because I love it. Like right now we have the Caro one, the U400, and even with the Apple Watch, it'll open up, and it's like so awesome. It
feels like magic, right?
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite things for sure.
Yeah. I have one, but it's still in the box. But like I'm traveling right now. I'm in Denmark. When I get back to Brooklyn, I'm gonna install it.
Sweet.
It's just like so Europe hasn't really gotten to experience Alero yet. Because in America, there's just a deadbolt. So it's very easy to just replace that part. Well, the European locks are like the handle and the lock is like in one. And then, oh my God, you go to Scandinavia, it has like 3 locks. It has like 5. It is crazy. Things like, so that will take a bit longer. But for sure, they're going to come, right?
Yeah.
It's too cool.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I love it. I was telling Apple should do more stuff with ultra wideband, but because like room presence detection and stuff, like they really like. I think there's still so much more cool stuff like people could be doing.
Oh yeah, but I'm pretty sure like they're working on something, right? There's these rumors that they're gonna have like a HomePod with a screen that can rotate to you with Face ID and doorbells with Face ID and this kind of stuff. So I think they're gonna have some cool tricks up their sleeve. But I actually think we should have cool tricks up our sleeve, right? As like the open home community. Like there's ultra wideband is not really accessible yet in the open source space. Like you can buy some dev boards with like, but they've wrapped the driver with their own driver, and like it's like I want to just buy like an ESP dev board with ultra wideband. We have some drivers in ESPHome, and we can start triangulating, right? If you have 3 ultra wideband stations in your house, then your phone, which has an ultra wideband chip, can talk to all 3. You send those coordinates. You can calculate where in the house you are, and so like my vision would be like you open Home Assistant, the top row is just for your current area, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I have right now, and it's amazing. Like I'm just using ESP Presence with Bluetooth.
Of course.
And that's why I have like on my dashboard, the first little thing is always what room you're in, like the controls for that room. And so my wife or I, like depending on she has her own dashboard with it set up, and and it works really well, even with the Apple Watch too. Like I don't even have to have I have my iPad, and again it will be the same thing and works super well. But
nice.
But yeah, ultra wideband would be more accurate for sure.
Do you have like a Bluetooth proxy in every room?
So I just have a little ESP32 in like almost every room. Yeah, just doing ESP Presence, and it works really well. Like especially with Apple, like I tried with Android, and you can like it still works really well, but I'm always like tinkering with it more. The Apple one just feels a little more like consistent. So I don't know like the Bluetooth levels. I don't know like.
Yeah, I just got rid of all my Apple stuff. So like I'm actually streaming for my Pixel 10 using this as my webcam. I have a Pebble Watch coming because the Pebble Watch, like they rebooted it. And it's like 30-day battery life, e-ink screen, open source. It has Home Assistant assist support. So like you can talk to it and like talk to the AI inside Home Assistant. So I'm pretty stoked for that one coming.
Awesome.
Hey, Missy.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
Good.
I'm here I'm here for your warning. I'll let you guys talk a little bit because you started talking about you're on your phone, Paulus, using your camera. That's wild. That's hilarious. No, I just wanted to say we've got about 1 minute before we're supposed to go live. So I'm going to interrupt you guys. Sorry. For those of you watching on the Home Assistant channel, we're actually going to shove you over to the ESPHome channel rather than standing here. We wanted to get you guys primed and watch us a little bit, have some casual conversation with Reed and Paulus before we actually jumped into the whole live stream event. So hopefully you're all ready for what's about to happen. But I'll actually drop the link to our ESPHome channel in the Home Assistant chat for you guys, just in case things end up going a little awry. But for now, I'm going to kick you off, Reed. So we'll see you here shortly.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. And then Paulus, I'm going to leave you here by yourself, and I'm going to get all of the media and everything started for us going so we can get this launch party running.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Good luck. Have fun.
Thank you. Hello. Welcome to the launch of the ESPHome Starter Kit. My name is Paulus and I'm the president of the ESPHome Foundation. Now, today is a big day for ESPHome because there's many things that we've been working on for a couple of years, really, and they're coming together today with the launch of the ESPHome Starter Kit. Now, it's also going to be a big, major milestone for the ESPHome Foundation, as this is the first product of our new commercial partner, Apollo Automation. Now, ESPHome, right? ESPHome got started in 2018, and it actually made a lot of things very easy. You didn't need to know how to program anymore. Instead, you were just writing a configuration file, like, oh, I have a YAML file where I say that on pin D5, I have a temperature sensor. Now, ESPHome would take that configuration file, turn this into software, install this on your microcontroller. Your microcontroller would connect to the Wi-Fi, would pop up in Home Assistant like, hey, we discovered a new device. You click Add to Home Assistant, and that temperature sensor connected to your microcontroller would now real-time show up in Home Assistant. Like the first time everyone that made an ESPHome device and they saw this flow, it felt like magic. Now, working with ESPHome is a lot easier than building microcontrollers from scratch where you're writing C, but it was still harder than it should be. So with the ESPHome Foundation, we set ourselves a goal. Let's make ESPHome more approachable. Like, how far can we really push it? Can we make it easy for anyone to get started making their own smart home devices without requiring prior knowledge about breadboards, microcontrollers, sensors, or soldering? And because we're the ESPHome Foundation, we want to make sure that when you're done learning this artifact or the things you made while you were learning, we don't want you to throw them away. We don't want them to end up in a drawer. We want to make sure that the things you made while you were learning can become part of your smart home, become actually useful smart home devices. So, we've been busy. And today, we are proud to announce that ESPHome is now accessible to everyone. No matter if you've been with us for years or if this live stream is actually the first time you hear from ESPHome. Now, this is also a big, major milestone for the ESPHome project. And so today we're going to talk about all the steps that we've taken to get there. Now, one of those is that recently we've created the ESPHome Desktop App. This is a native application that runs on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And it has all batteries included. Everything you need to build and get started building ESPHome devices, but also if you're a veteran user, to manage your fleet of 10 or 20 or 30 devices. Now, this ESPHome Desktop App includes our new ESPHome Device Builder interface. This is an interface that we built from the ground up to be easy to use. Like, it has forms, that like represent the YAML that you have under the hood. So you can still edit your YAML file if you want, but most people will probably just use the forms with easy drop downs, with showing all the possible actions, and all the documentation is shown in line. And if you want to get the more advanced documentation, the website is just one click away. It's really, really super easy. Now, this still left new users with one big open question. What do I buy to get started? Like, what hardware is like the first good thing? And this is where Apollo Automation comes in, right? By making the ESPHome Starter Kit. And this Starter Kit, really, it's a big milestone for the Open Home Foundation. And let me explain why. Because the Open Home Foundation, it's a non-profit based in Switzerland. And we want to make sure that everybody has access to a smart home built around privacy, choice, and sustainability. And that's why we make sure that projects like ESPHome, Home Assistant, and Music Assistant, they keep going and they stay free for all of you forever. But while we give the software away to you for free, it does cost us money to keep everything going. So that's why the Open Home Foundation, we work with commercial partners. And you might have heard of our first commercial partner and only one until last year, which was Nabucasa. Nabucasa, they make officially licensed Home Assistant products like the Home Assistant Green, Home Assistant Cloud. And when you buy or subscribe to these products, the majority of this profits on these products, 60%, goes back to the Open Home Foundation to pay for all the things you do. And the cool thing is that there are no investors here or big tech to pocket this money, right? Like, our budget is public. You can go to our website, go to the bottom, you can see the budget of where we spend our money. And you can see that we put this money back in the community, or we pay for staff to help run all these projects. Like, buying officially licensed products really is the best way to support our work. Now, today is big because Apollo Automation is our second commercial partner, and the ESPHome Starter Kit is their first licensed product. That means that if you buy this product, and you should, by the way, because it's awesome, you are supporting the great work that the team is doing, building ESPHome, Music Assistant, Home Assistant, and all the other things that we do. Now, today we're going to talk to the people who made all the improvements to ESPHome and the new features that it unlocks for advanced users. But first, let's take a look at the ESPHome Starter Kit with Apollo co-founder Trevor. Hey, Trevor.
Hey, Paulus. Thanks for the intro.
Yeah.
Really excited to be here. I was just reflecting as you were talking there that Justin and I started Apollo just about 3 years ago in our basement, just making our own devices. It's pretty crazy to be here today. The ESPHome Starter Kit. So we're really excited about this and to launch it. It's been a lot of work here recently. And so the kit, it's an entry kit into learning electronics, programming, ESPHome, and just building your own smart home devices. The kit's for anyone. There are no prereqs or experience required. You don't need to know programming or electronics to get started. We've tried to remove as many of the barriers and scary parts as possible to make it a fun experience, and that at the end, you have a real usable smart home product that you can use in your home for years to come. So you get to build real things quick, learn ESPHome, and then learn how to use them in your smart home. So what is in the kit? The kit contains a ESP32C6 board as the brain. And it's okay if you don't know what those words are. We'll help you guide you through the whole process. Just think of it as the brain. And then there are 4 different modules that you can attach to it. The kit has a button module that allows you to trigger any automation. So for example, you could put it on your nightstand and trigger your nighttime routine to turn on the lights or lock your doors and more. There's also a motion module, so that when you connect this, it allows you to detect when somebody enters the room, and then you could turn on your lights or sound an alarm. The third module is for temperature and humidity. It lets you know the precise environmental characteristics of your room. And then lastly, my favorite, which is the ESPHome shaped LED and buzzer module. So yeah, it has a ring of color RGB lights around the outside, which are perfect for status notifications. And so in our office, actually, it's when our front doorbell rings, it's difficult to hear it back where we sit. And so we have one on our desks right now. So when the front doorbell rings, our starter kit lights up and flashes and makes a chime. So we know we need to go to the front door to get a package. And so what makes it different? The starter kit, like I said, it removes a lot of the hurdles with getting started. There's no soldering, no breadboards, and you can't mess up any of the wiring or use the wrong resistor. So you plug in the different modules with the ribbon cable, and we've got some fun gifts here to share. On the left-hand side, it shows you what you do with the first thing when you get your kit. You break it apart. So this is a hands-on physical product. So to start off, you snap the modules apart from their kind of bigger parent board. And then on the right, it shows you how easy it is to attach modules. You don't have to know the pinouts or wiring or add extra components. They simply snap in with tiny ribbon cables, and then all the pins are lined up and you're connected. It's really a nice, like, easy experience to get going with it. And so the kit is available right now, today. 60% of the profit from this goes to the Open Home Foundation to help fund ESPHome, Home Assistant, Music Assistant, and all the other cool projects that we work on. You can get the kit from our website or globally from our distribution partners. There's distribution throughout the US, Canada, Europe, the UK, Australia. So find a distributor near you. They're on sale for 40 USD or 41 euro. And our team has spent many late hours these past few weeks assembling all these kits. So yeah, we at Apollo, we assemble every single one of those kits here in our Kentucky office. And if you stay in for the post party, I think you might have a video shot of it. Nice. And we're excited to see where all these go. So once you get that kit, you start by our wiki. And so our team has built out an incredible guide to follow that takes you step by step, connecting each one of the different modules, learning about them, how to program them, and then how you could use those for a long-term home automation device. So shout out to Brandon and Justin on our team for making tons of pictures, GIFs, and easy to follow guides. And then we also gave early access to the kit in Wiki to some content creators and community members. They gave us invaluable feedback on walking step by step through the guides and giving us feedback to make it as easy as possible. And we've invited a few of them on here. So we've got Simon from Simon Says Home Assistant is going to join. Gavin from the HomeTech.fm podcast. Hey, Simon.
Hey there.
From Smart Home Solver.
Hey
guys.
Hey,
good to be here.
How's it going? Good. Yeah, look, you guys all were involved in the early access program. I think, Trevor, like you announced the starter kit already. We showed it at State of the Open Home back in May. I think, was that around the time also that we started the early access program?
Yeah, roughly. I mean, it's been built in the open, tons of input from the community. So it's not really a surprise what we've built here. We've been talking about it in all the Discords and live streams and such for 6 months or so now. And quite a few people had some early access.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, this is why it's so good, right? We keep iterating. We see what we're missing in the guide. But hey, let's focus on these creators. Maybe Simon, why do you go first? Like, you've had early access. Like, what's your experience been?
Paulus, it was absolutely awesome. I came across Home Assistant about 5 years, and ESPHome was one of the first things I jumped on. But for me, it was quite challenging to figure out, first of all, what ESP32 to buy, and then how to connect all the pins and put the code together. So the first thing I loved about this is the modularity. So having these little ribbon connectors just makes it so easy to stick all the different parts together. And then being able to, the new ESPHome Builder tool is just amazing, because instead of having to, first of all, find the code off the ESPHome website, paste it in, then try and figure out all the pin layouts, it's basically all there for you. You just select your components. It even tells you what the communication protocol is. So yeah, I just love it. I found it just amazing. And the only problem that I had was I was trying to do it the old way. So I had to read the instructions and do it the new way.
Nice. And Gavin, what about you?
Oh, I remember the first time I got to see the starter kit coming out. I thought it was a great idea because me personally, I did have ESPHome devices in my house all set up, but they're all pre-made stuff, and I always wished I could make my own. I had so many ideas, and everything started getting easier, especially with the ESPHome Device Builder Desktop app. That just, that's a game changer right there. I've always been good with software, but when it came to hardware, soldering pins, I just couldn't get my head around it, right? And this kit just solved all of that. My first project that I wanted to do was make a pressure sensor for my pool filter. And when I told Justin from Apollo, he stole my idea and he made it for me. And nice. It was great to see. And it's been running for months and it works perfectly. I love it. It was so easy to do too. Like I was amazed at how easy that was to do. My ultimate goal is to make my own soil moisture sensor for outside. And if you follow me on the Home Tech podcast, I'm a fan of those, and I have requirements like being lawnmower friendly. That's still in the works though.
That's yeah, working around lawnmowers, that's going to be tricky, I think.
Yeah.
And Gavin, there you expanded the kit, right? Because you guys attached on additional sensors outside of the 4 that we include with it, right? For your pressure sensor.
Yeah. So that's the great part about this kit is I actually had a pressure sensor in my closet that I one day wanted to do a project with. Well, when this kit came along, it was the perfect time, and you could buy extra sensors and it just works. It's easy to set up.
It's awesome.
Nice. So Reed, how's your experience been?
It was a great experience. I was blown away about how thorough the instructions were online, like the wiki that Apollo made. The step-by-step, it was super easy to follow. And I ended up doing setting up the kit with my daughter. She's 11. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Like if anybody has kids out there that wants to do like a fun project with them, this is like a perfect thing to do because it's easy enough that like anyone can do it, especially like the kids, and like you can help them and do it with it. But then you can get like really creative after, like using the little buzzer to make different songs or play with the lights. And it's fun. Like it's just like me and my daughter, we had so much fun setting it up. And then after I'd always wanted to learn more about ESPHome. I had seen lots of cool devices made with it. And I was like, oh man, it'd be awesome to eventually, make my own device one day, and thought that might not ever be possible, just like to have to learn all like the steep learning curve. But after doing this, I was like, whoa, it's crazy. Like I, made a whole device, connected it to Home Assistant, did all that stuff. I feel like I learned so much in a short amount of time. It was amazing.
Nice. And then now, where is the smart home? Did it become a part of your smart home?
Yeah. So, my daughter, she's like, I'm taking it. You can like, so on Apollo, they have at least right now one 3D model or like 3D print you could make. So I did that. It's kind of like a little enclosure for it. So like the buzzer, light, and then they're like a button, and it's in my daughter's room. She's playing with it, messing with it. Nice. So she loves it. And my other little daughters were jealous, but maybe I'll have to get more.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's so good to hear.
And that 3D print is actually a community made from one of the beta testers. So
sweet.
All of the schematics, all of the 3D files for the boards are all open source. And somebody took that and made that cool like housing for it. It's really neat looking.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. They did a good job. It worked well.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing your experience with us. It's time for us to go to the next section, because otherwise we're going to be talking on this stream for like hours. So yeah, thank you all. Trevor, let me just get this. Yeah, next slide, right? Nope. There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Yes.
So
why?
Go ahead.
Why did it was your first product a starter kit?
Yeah. So Apollo started a handful of years ago, 3 years ago, with my best friend Justin and I, just making cool projects for ourselves, all based on ESPHome. And eventually we started gaining traction and have grown substantially since then. And we built Apollo all around ESPHome and feel strongly about giving more people the opportunity to make their own devices and share what they've made with them. So we build all of our products in the open. And the starter kit was another one of those. And so on the screen here, we have a screenshot from our Discord where we're discussing, I think, about which module color and things like that. And we've been talking about it for 6 months in there. Once we got the concept for the idea and kind of a plan to get community feedback right from the start. And so we've had things like which sensors to include, how the modules should look, feedback on our wiki, and even our packaging design. So non-technical things.
Yeah.
So if you want to influence.
But this is what I was saying. This is so cool, right? Like anyone can just go onto the Discord of Apollo Automation or of ESPHome and just like help you guys out.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if you want to influence the next project, please join either the ESPHome Discord or the Apollo Discord. You don't need any technical background. We just want opinions and input as we continue to build in the open. So like I said, even with product packaging design, we threw out a handful of designs to get some votes and ideas, and came out with a really cool design. I really like the box, which we have a picture of earlier. Yeah. So back on why we made the starter kit. I remember back when I first started learning electronics a handful of years ago, and it was a blast. But I started with an electronics kit, and then there were some hurdles along the way, right? So you're spending hours troubleshooting your code just to figure out that it was a wrong wire in the wrong place, or you use the wrong resistor or hook up something wrong, and you burn up a component.
I have so many of these starter kits just like half used, like laying in my closet.
Yeah, I think a lot of us makers have that, like, a tub of just dead leftover kits and things like that, because it's hard to use them on the long term. And we really wanted to be sustainable with this and with the kit, and that's why the outcome is being able to have different smart home devices that you can use long term, like we said, with using the doorbell chime at our office that's been running for months now and will continue to run. And so the starter kit removes a lot of these and lets you just focus on the basics and just getting started. And so once we had this idea, we pitched to the Open Home Foundation the vision to make ESPHome more accessible and why Apollo was the right commercial partner for ESPHome. And the vision started with making a hardware kit that removed all these hurdles that stopped many from getting started. And we've got plenty more to come in the future. The starter kit is
we'll get to that later, Trevor. Like a sneak peek, right, is for later in the stream, right? But I
say so. Stay up to date on our ESPHome and Apollo Discords. We've got a lot of cool things planned, and we want that feedback.
Yeah. When we heard that pitch, with the Open Home Foundation, we're like, yeah, this is like, we want this too. This is awesome, right? We got super excited. And I think with the Open Home Foundation and our work has always been very consumed by Home Assistant and, Nabucasa, ESPHome, right? But the products that Nabucasa made with ESPHome were always Home Assistant products. Like the Home Assistant Voice Preview Edition is an ESPHome device. But actually, nobody knows, right? There's this whole side of ESPHome about the tinkering and the making and the things that you guys did. But Apollo Automation is so awesome. Like, you were just helping yourself, grew, saw some other people that wanted your product, started selling to them. And right now, not only do you have global distribution, right? Like, now you are a commercial partner for the Open Home Foundation, stewards of the ESPHome brand. And so, when you guys pitched us, we were like, yeah, this is exactly the kind of thing that we want and need as the Open Home Foundation to make sure that we get ESPHome and in the hands of more people and see the power and people helping building their own smart home devices. And so we set it as a goal for the Open Home Foundation, like, hey, we want to make sure ESPHome is more approachable. And then, of course, you don't just set goals, right? You throw in resources, right? So we pulled in like a UX designer and a front-end team and like project management. And we've been working on this now, I think it's been at least 6 months of like very intense working. And of course, before that, we also were working on it, but like not with that many resources. And actually today we have some of those people here, right? Some of the people that have been working on ESPHome Device Builder and making it more accessible. And this is not just like, hey, let's write some code. Like, no, we actually have written code, tested this with the community, done a lot of user testing. So let's talk to some of the people that have managed this project, built this project, did the user research. Let's talk to Marcel, Eriol, and Steven.
Hello, Paulus. Hello, guys.
Hello.
All right. Welcome. So the three of you have been working on this for a long time. How did it all get started?
There was an idea. There was an idea of Apollo automation creating like this easy to get started with ESPHome device, like the starter kit. And then we sat down, I think it was in Utrecht in February or something. Said like, yeah, that's cool if you can get started with a device easily, but ESPHome is not ready. That's basically our conclusion. And then we went from there, right, Eriol?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that I brought a unique aspect to the team, being a complete newbie to this kind of device building as well. Yeah. So I had, you know, to learn really, really quickly what is really important to not only the power users, but users like me, users that are starting completely from scratch, that really want to build stuff and be empowered by building stuff. And, you know, we had lots of great conversations about what it meant to be inclusive of new kinds of people learning about electronics, as well as making sure that people that have been doing this for many, many years, as was mentioned earlier, that they didn't feel like they were being pushed out of the tool that they had come to really, you know, grow attached to and build amazing things in. So yeah, it was a great process.
Nice. Yeah, I put some of the research here on the screen, Eriol.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Let me dive. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Paulus. Let me dive into this.
Yeah.
Cool. So I've got 4 topics here about how we made ESPHome's UI more approachable to try and like demonstrate our thinking as we were building this. So the first one that I wanted to talk about here, which is building without writing YAML. And I can sort of hear the distant, no, not my YAML, from various people. We haven't taken YAML away, but our first hypothesis around the ESPHome UI was that in order to make ESPHome more approachable to different kinds of people, we needed to make YAML a guided and optional part of building a custom smart home device. YAML is a really easy language to get started with, but we really wanted people to discover the magic of creating smart home devices that worked for them before needing to learn about how YAML is structured. It works really well together now as well. I'd love to hear Steven and Marcel talk about some of the features about how you build with the GUI alongside the YAML file later, but ESPHome now allows users to input and select information from form fields, like you were saying earlier, Paulus, and selection modals to choose functionality. This means that beginners particularly found this more approachable than the YAML, or getting put into the YAML first. And the users that were familiar with YAML actually found the inputs helped them go faster when they were building particular kinds of devices, and allowed for more exploration and discovery for potential functionality for these users.
I definitely experienced that.
Yep, like, me too. I'll always like 10 tabs open your browser with the docs, and now you just have it right before you. So that's a big win.
Yeah. We'll go on to our second one.
Yeah.
We got 4 to get through. We learned tons. I mean, these are the 4 highlights, but we learned so much about making good UI for different kinds of users here. But our second discovery here was that everyone who works with YAML may eventually get to a point where returning to their YAML file, even if you've got comprehensive comments in your code, can take a while to locate what you want to see, change, or add to. So in order to make navigating and working on your devices easier in the ESPHome UI, the collapsible sectioned navigation that sits on the left-hand side of larger screens allows users to isolate a section to display in the center for the form field input panel. And you can see highlighted in the corresponding YAML on the right, the section that you're changing in the input fields. So moving around your device is a lot easier. And for the learners and newbies, what we're doing is we're helping them to get better orientated around how a YAML file is structured, or where they may have put certain parts of the YAML file, or where we've put it if we're starting with a pre-made YAML, or if we're starting with certain defaults. So this promotes really good legible device structure and makes things more approachable.
I mean, that's for me. I have like this thermostat with like 1,000 lines of YAML. And now I basically use the left hand to just quickly jump to the right parts of the YAML. And then nowadays, I look at the form mainly, right? But it's good to quickly go to the YAML, because I've got some gnarly templates in there that like are very hard to get in the form. So, you know, I still need both, but like the navigation helps navigating this so easily.
That's the beauty of what we came up with, right? We offer you both options. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So moving on to our third one, we've got a better dashboard. Now, dashboards, I think, for ESPHome have been talked about a lot across the many years. So much. So we could spend probably the entire night, well into the late early morning, talking about all the ways which we have already improved the dashboard. But critically, what we saw and responded to in the user testing and when we were talking to users was a lot of idea and feedback around community communication channels and grown open source projects. And the parts that tested particularly well when we did usability testing were the multiple ways of sorting and searching, as well as having configurable columns and a list view. And of course, the wonderful device preview, which was actually, I think, something that the developer team added in before UX even thought about it, which is just a lovely example of how working really closely with a development team as a UX designer really grows your ideas and helps you explore different kinds of ways of displaying information to users. But of course, we kept the card view for those of us that don't need or want a list to remain approachable and friendly to beginners.
It's funny, right? We had in the old UI, the older ESPHome dashboard, we only had the card views. And I think the #1 most requested feature is like, I want a list view. I want a list view. I have 25 devices. Where is my list view? I cannot find anything. And so I'm glad that we are now able to, not only did it land, but it landed like better than any idea we've ever had before. Yeah.
And the last one, the tinkerer's desk or shelf or drawer, or now, as I've heard, a tinkerer's tub from earlier on, is never like lacking your half-built devices or parts of potential devices. But as we spoke to lots of new users, we found that the most common way for them to build up new projects was to follow tutorials from, again, people like our wonderful creators that have been on the call, and piece together ideas from documentation and example projects, or even sometimes ask AI to build part of the YAML file first. And while these are all perfectly fine and acceptable ways to build out projects, they always had to start with the user seeking that information. And there were less opportunities for the users of ESPHome to really discover and be inspired as they built and learned. So the new way to select your board, components and automations had users really exploring possibilities as they built. What we found in a lot of the user testing is actually people would have an idea of what they wanted to build, they would start building it, and then something in the component search category, a new category might catch their eye, and suddenly they're making notes off to the side about the next device project that they want to build, and including a certain component that they had never thought of before. So discovering possibilities like this should really be fun and explorative. And ideally, from a UX perspective, it should be within the tool that you're building as well. So that's what we really wanted to prioritize here.
Yeah, so development-wise, this got us into building complete like components library and device library. So we started collecting like popular boards from the community into a board picker. So you can start your journey by, hey, I have this board in front of me. Then, okay, if we know which board you have, which components are available for this board. And that was quite a challenge, to be honest. But yeah, it was worth
I mean, it's one of those ideas that start out like, oh, wouldn't it be cool? And all of a sudden, before it, we're indexing every dev board out there.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is like, by the way, thinking about like this screen and like all these other screens, like all of these are compatible and work on mobile as well, Stephen.
Yeah, so it was not that easy to make it happen. So I remember when we released the first, I would say, alpha of the ESPHome New Builder, we had some comments from the communities like, oh yeah, this is not responsive. And I was like, hold on guys, we will come to that point. And so yeah, making responsive the list view or the table view was not that hard. But the editor was kind of the problem, because you have the device navigator on the left, you have the split view if you have the split view. So yeah, there were a lot of problems that we needed to fix. But all in all, I think it's in a good shape now.
Yeah. And this is actually one of the things that, because we went from a text editor into forms, of course people now want to do it on mobile, right? Like before it was like, you want to edit text like where half the screen is your keyboard and type it in, like that's madness. But of course, with such an easy to use UI, people are like, yeah, I'll just like add a few options from my phone while I'm on the couch or something, right? So yeah, this is awesome. Great work there.
Yeah.
Right, and the last slide.
Well, speaking of people that wanted to use their mobile, it was actually a really practical use for people wanting a more mobile-friendly experience as well. We had people that we spoke to that had ESPHome devices out on acres of their land. Maybe they were monitoring a kind of gasoline tank or another kind of device, maybe on farms and other pieces. And so it was actually really, really useful for those kinds of folks to be able to move around a large property in order to check on things. But I just wanted to give a rough overview of how we approach this work. There's some wonderful researchers in the team at the OpenHome Foundation, and they helped structuring what we did here, as well as making sure our user research is all openly available there. You can see on the screen there's a URL where you can actually check on all of the work that was done for the user research for the ESPHome GUI. But what we did is we also have a feedback survey that was in beta and dev. We made prototypes for usability testing. We published all of that on our Open UX Research repository. Again, that's the link below. We had live visual interface usability testing as well in dev and beta, and lots of community Discord discussions as new features and ideas grew. Like lovely Kerry here, you can see Kerry is currently in a usability test from that screenshot there, giving some wonderful feedback about how he wants to build the starter kit along with his son-in-law and grandson. So I look forward to hearing how they get on, Kerry.
Nice. Yeah, this is like what we're trying to do with the OpenHome Foundation is that when you get to open source, there's not that much. It's always talking about code, right? Programming and writing code. And actually, you don't just start writing code. I mean, anyone that has tried AI knows now, right? You can't just start with writing code. You need to look at what you want to build. You need to understand your target audience. You need to, especially like at the place where we were with ESPHome, where like, if we had talked to our current users, we would not have found that like, oh, there are people that are just scared away from ESPHome. They never make it to become our user, but they would love to if they could, right? And so you need people to do this kind of research and to deep dive into like, what are the possible target audiences? What kind of people are already using Home Assistant that could also use ESPHome, or what other use cases are there for ESPHome devices? We are not reaching the people that could benefit from it. And I think this is where research is very important. And of course, we're doing it in the open way, right? Everything we do is open. And this is why I'm super stoked to see, like, not only are we publishing great software, we're actually publishing our methodology, the results, the approach we take, so that hopefully other projects can also learn. And I think one of the things I would love to see more is that when I look at the people that are volunteering at the OpenHome Foundation, one of the many projects, it is very engineer heavy, and I would love to see more like people with the product manager hat, or a UX researcher, or UX designer, product designer, visual designer, these kind of roles. Like, we're very open to collaborating with all of you, right? Because we want to make all these projects more accessible. Everybody should have a private smart home. And being able to do that, we need like all these different roles and not just the programmers.
And contributing is more than just developing, right? It can also start by clicking that feedback button. Tell us what you think, tell us what you do not like, or that's also contributing to an open source project. But it's not just, I cannot write code, I cannot contribute. No, it's like sharing your opinion is also contributing in a good way.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because we don't track data, right? Like we don't like send every click to the cloud and then record it in a big database to analyze. Like, no, we need to hear from you to understand what works and what doesn't.
I think talking about that is also interesting, right? We started this angle from like, hey, let's make ESPHome as accessible as possible. Let's make like a guided tour to make this happen. And at some point, of course, there's a really big existing ESPHome community that said like, yeah, but what about us, right? It's good that you now make this all visual, but I like my YAML and I just have Visual Studio Code, but I'm basically asking to get this powerful features of managing my fleet of devices. Can you start looking into that? So we basically expanded our scope along the way to also incorporate those features into the new builder. And this is just getting started, right? We can now expand from here because we have this whole framework now set out.
Okay, I think it's time to wrap up this segment because I know we could keep talking about this for a long time. Thank you all so much for all the work you have all done. I'm looking forward to all the things that are going to come to ESPHome. And then we're going to switch a little bit of gears, not too much. We're going to talk to Jesse. Jesse is the lead of the ESPHome project. It has been for many, many years already. But he has also been one of the people working on the new ESPHome Desktop App. So we just talked to the team that made the interface, and the desktop app brings this interface to everybody's computer. Hi. Good morning, Jesse.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Good. So ESPHome Desktop App. Why are we making the switch from running ESPHome as an app on the Home Assistant platform as our most recommended pattern to saying, hey, actually, why don't you download our app?
Good question. So, I mean, it's not just sort of, I wouldn't say replacing the ESPHome app in Home Assistant, but it solves more issues in that installing the desktop app is just like installing your favorite browser now. You can one-click download and install basically all of the dependencies that ESPHome needs. Python, Git, all these other things that I could list, and you wouldn't know what they are. And so now we just provide them in one easy package.
And that's actually, I think people don't realize this, right? ESPHome, there's a lot of magic under the hood, including like building software from scratch. Like it is generating programming code just for your configuration. This is not like a Windows with apps installed. No, like this is a custom-made software for your configuration, which is very hard to build. And now it just works on your computer, right? It used to be very hard to get running.
It does. The ESPHome is very magic. When I first found the project, I was just blown away. And it took me many years of my contributing to try and figure out all the different parts. And it's great what we've built now.
So inside the desktop app, like, it's not just we're hosting the user interface and we have the build tools. We have some other cool things embedded, right?
Yeah, so the desktop app itself can actually do what we call remote building. So you can continue to run your ESPHome app in Home Assistant. That is where you currently, if you're an existing user anyway, you have all of your configuration files hosted in Home Assistant. You can set the desktop app up as a remote builder and allow the ESPHome app in Home Assistant to utilize the powerful desktop or laptop that you have in the cases of your Home Assistant machine being a low-powered Home Assistant Green or Raspberry Pi, and your your building and installing of your devices is just going to go so much faster.
Yeah, and I've seen this. Like a Raspberry Pi, like it is a low power machine on purpose because it's always on. It should not be powerful. It should not use a lot of electricity. It only runs your smart home. Home Assistant is pretty efficient at that. So yeah, compiling or building software, right? Like it can take a lot of memory. It can take a lot of CPU. I've seen even instances of people having like, not with a Home Assistant Green, but like if you have a 2 gigabytes of RAM or something, it's like, oh, now everything crashes because ESPHome was using so much memory. And so
it's kind of embarrassing that we do that. Like, well, I mean, we don't do it on purpose, but yes, it's funny because an ESP, like the microcontroller itself is so tiny, and you'd think, okay, well, I don't need much, processing power to actually create the software for it, but it really does take a lot for a computer to actually build all of the software together for the devices. And so but a desktop or laptop computer has so much more power and can do it way easier.
And so for the advanced users, is this only a remote building feature only available in the desktop application?
No. So outside of the desktop app itself, the ESPHome, the remote building is actually more built into the ESPHome device builder, the new sort of interface that we've built. And you could spin that up yourself using Docker, or I mean, if you're really into it, you can do it with the command line still. We don't take away any of these sort of more power user ways of running things. We just want to also add making it easier, making it more approachable, right? So the desktop app is just a layer on top that makes it so much easier.
Nice. So I have a beefy server. I just throw in the Docker container, and then even my laptop, right? Like if I have the ESPHome Desktop app on my laptop, I can still build on my server, so I don't have to walk around the house with my laptop open. I could just close it.
And it's hosting. So if you still have your ESPHome on your Home Assistant instance, you can, and you have your builder, your desktop app running on your computer, you can visit your interface from your mobile phone with the Home Assistant companion app, still make changes to your devices, and that will send it out to whatever remote builder you have, the more beefy machines, and do your building there for you.
This is the dream, right? Sitting on the couch, building my ESPHome devices, and it's fast.
You don't even need to be on the couch. If you have Home Assistant Cloud, you can do it anywhere in the world.
Oh, hey, that's true. Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, final question, Jesse. How easy is it to like stay up to date?
It's easy. You have the desktop app will check every now and then for its own updates and ESPHome updates, and it will present a dialogue to you, and you basically have a choice, yes or no, and it updates, and that's it.
Nice.
You're up to date.
Nice. And ESPHome, of course, we do an update every
month. So ESPHome has a monthly release. We have every third Wednesday of the month, ESPHome will do a major release, sort of following the Home Assistant calendar, but 2 weeks delayed. And
Awesome. This sounds amazing. I hope everybody watching, if you have not tried out the ESPHome device builder because you're like, I like my command line, or like I'm still on the old interface, try out the new interface. It is very much better. Jesse, I want to thank you very much
thank you, Paulus,
for your work, and we'll talk later in the stream as well when we start looking into the future of what's going to come for ESPHome. But for now, thank you so much.
Awesome.
All right, so next up, we've heard now for the people building the ESPHome device builder. We've talked to people building the ESPHome desktop. Now I think it's time to talk to somebody using it to give us a demo of how, if you are a power user, how does it look? How does it feel? Like, can we get a walkthrough? So we found a power user. His name is Marcus. Hi, Marcus.
Hello. How are you?
Very good. Very good. You are a power user. Maybe you can give us a quick introduction of like your smart home and how many ESPHome devices are in there.
Sure. So I started using ESPHome, I think in 2018, just at the beginning. And yeah, I've been building devices for years. I have everything smart right now at home, everything, every single light and everything that I could imagine as an ESPHome device, yeah, it ended up having an ESPHome.
Okay.
So yeah, right now I have like more than 80 devices. So,
wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
amazing in terms of how to live at your home, but it creates some challenges, especially regarding maintenance of those devices and also updating those devices. Because obviously, if you want to stay in the safe side, you need to do at least 12 updates each year for all the devices. And yeah, that's time consuming and difficult to control using the command line. And especially if you are flashing lights devices, you can annoy people at home. So,
right. Yeah. Always think about the home approval factor.
Yeah. It's something.
Okay.
It's there always.
Hey, let's bring up your dashboard. Oh shit, I'm pressing the button as well. Okay. This is your dashboard. Maybe you can just walk us through like all the things that we're seeing and kind of like, how you work today.
Yeah, as I said, let's start from the beginning. I'm not using ESPHome inside Home Assistant because my Home Assistant is running on Docker, and I usually run ESPHome locally with the Python package. Okay, so my migration path was really pretty easy. To the migration to the app, the Builder app was pretty easy. Just needed to move my regular working folder to the ESPHome folder inside your home folder in the operating system, and suddenly you have all your devices managed inside the interface, and you can also manage secrets and everything. So you can essentially forget about handling the code directly or executing commands. So once that is done, this is the usual way, the default way to see things here. You can see all the devices. You can also customize your experience because you have multiple views. I think this is the best one for me because you can really select what do you want to see based on your requirements or the task you want to perform. As I said, one of the major challenges about having so much devices is scheduling or controlling how the updates happened and when. So having filters here, it's just amazing. I can just select devices with updates available, which are lights, because you can add custom labels to each item. So yeah, I can just select the devices I want to update based on my criteria and select as many as I want and launch the update. And fun fact, you can continue using the application because it is running on background. You can see it here. I already had a spoiler on that, but we also the application also have a pretty nerdy tool to offload the building and installation of the ESPHome firmware to external servers. So in my case, I have an additional server running with ESPHome. Each ESPHome installation can act as a build server. So you can go to settings, pair your remote server is automatically detected by the system. And once you have it connected or pair, you can select your device to flash. And yeah, it just works. As you can see, we are building and installing the software using the remote server. So for me, this is
really
amazing.
Fast,
yeah. Yes, it's running on an AMD EPYC with 64 cores, which is chef kiss for building. Yeah, I never tried to do this on a Raspberry Pi. I think I tried it once, and it was like, no, 10 minutes.
It used to be 10 minutes and you had to keep your screen open, right? So if you would close the screen, it would send a signal of like, oh, the user wants to abort, cancel this build. So you had to like 10 minutes, and especially the voice assistants, they took even longer because with this TensorFlow Lite that's being compiled and like, yeah, so being able to offload this is such a game changer.
You can imagine my experience updating 85 devices in a row. So yeah, apart from the updates, what I can say, I mean, people like me that we are really used to YAML. We really want to see YAML there. We are used to it, and it's pretty great. And I think the really amazing thing about this application, the device builder, is that we have YAML, we have auto completion, and we also have the possibility to see every single explanation and option aside with the code, which is amazing. For example, one of the things I always need to search is filters. I think I have one somewhere here. Yeah. Okay, I never remember how filters work, and the amount of parameters depending on the filters is just massive. But look, I can just select Herbit, and I have here all the options available, and I can set whatever I want without opening a browser. Or yeah, and if I want to open the documentation, it's here. I can just click on the link, and it's there. So yeah, it's just amazing.
And I want to say, once you make a change, one of the things that actually is in the interface, if we could go back to the table view, which I think is worth highlighting, is that we actually show the files that you have modified, but you actually haven't sent yet, right? The orange thing.
Exactly. You have here in the list, you can see the devices that has been modified. So the YAML changed since last time you installed the last version, and you can also see the ones that have a new version of the software. This is also present in the filters, so you can target those specific devices and flash those, which is also pretty nice, because sometimes you have changes and you don't remember you did something. So it is pretty amazing. Yeah. As to thinking about more things, maybe you can continue. If you are using Git locally, you can continue using Git, or you can let the device builder itself to manage the commits. It's hidden behind the expert mode, which is my best mode or flavor. But yeah, you can control it. So I think the main message here is that we can configure the device builder in the way we want. We can do something simple, but if we want to go hard and heavy on it, we can also use it. There is no real limitations on doing real fleet and heavy tasks. So yeah, I'm pretty happy we have this tool right now.
Yeah, this is such a big improvement. And I think there was already in the previous section, like we're talking about device builder, that in the beginning the people were like, the more hardcore YAML users were like, do I really want to go here? But now what we see, that we have full fleet management, remote building, inline documentation, everything is so smooth. I think we've won over a lot of our community, and everybody's like, rallying around this product, and like, let's make this the best way to manage our ESPHome devices.
Yes, and look, we have an Apollo device discovered.
Yeah, this is actually, I like this a lot about ESPHome, is that people that make products that are running ESPHome, like the Home Assistant Voice Preview Edition or one of the Apollo sensors, out of the box, you didn't use the YAML on your machine, right? You bought a ready-made project, but you can adopt them in a device builder, and then you can start customizing the configuration and upload it to that device because it's your device. And so these products are built in that spirit to have you as a user full control over the hardware that you buy. And if you want to have it, I don't know, add a component from ESPHome to it, you want to, a lot of the voice preview edition has like an extra growth port to add stuff to it, right? Like, you can expand these devices exactly the way you want.
Yes.
All right, Marcus, thank you so much for this walkthrough. This was amazing. This was really good. Next up, we are gonna do one final section, which is a look ahead. Like, where do we want to go? And for that, I would like to bring back Jesse and Trevor. And let's bring up the slides. All right, Trevor. So I brought both of you up because Trevor, from the hardware side, the product side, I would like to see your angle. Like, what do you think? What are the plans? Like, Starter Kit 2, something else?
Yeah, really weird. It's up to the community for some feedback here. We've got a few ideas, and we'd love for you guys to scan the QR code on the screen and give us some feedback on a short survey. So the three kind of current ideas we have on the hardware side are, one, we could make another module pack. So add more easy-to-use modules and sensors for the existing starter board. We can make a more intermediate level kit. So that would be maybe more difficult sensors like a millimeter wave or LCD screens or e-ink or something like that. And then, right, the starter kit has, right now, there's 4 usable outcomes. You have the button, the LEDs, the temperature and humidity, and the motion detection. We could make a more in-goal specific product. So maybe like a build your own air sensor kit, where the end goal is the air sensor, and kind of guide you through that with a case and
that'd be cool
specific sensors. Yeah, but we want to know feedback. It's we listen to the community, and if you give us feedback on Discord, this survey, wherever you can find us, we want to hear it.
Yeah, I'm especially interested in kind of learning about what kind of audience really appeals to the ESPHome Starter Kit. Is this, are you a person that came from Home Assistant, felt like you always want to do something more, but it was a bit daunting, and now you can see it? Or maybe you're a more experienced ESPHome user, and this is your way of introducing people around you, like your kids, like Reed was doing, to electronics, right? Like, I would love to learn, like, what attracts you to the ESPHome Starter Kit. So make sure you share that as well. Jesse, overlord of the ESPHome project, like we just launched a big thing. So what is what is next for the ESPHome project?
Yeah, so one sort of goal that we have this year is what we're calling proxy all the things. So basically, we're wanting to build, what's the word I'm looking for? Build ESPHome in a way that you can use an ESPHome device to connect other devices in your house that are not smart into Home Assistant. So we've already seen this with the infrared proxies.
Very cool.
And RF has come up as well. So yeah, we're looking to basically give you something that satisfies all of these older devices, so that you don't have to buy new smart ones. You can use your old not so smart ones and make them smart.
Yeah, so I think that the ones that were still like we've been building a lot of these, right, over the year, or like this year, serial, infrared. You mentioned radio frequency. I think Z-Wave we've also proxied. I think one of the things we have in the prototype lab right now is to proxy Zigbee, right? So we want to make sure that when you plug in a Zigbee adapter like the ZBT2, that you can actually use that remotely inside Home Assistant. But the other thing is, we want to be like the radio frequency. We have the sending part. But one of the things that's very cool by infrared is we also have the receiving part, because you can actually update the state in Home Assistant or use any remote to control Home Assistant with infrared. And we want to also bring this to radio frequency. So if you are using an RF emitter to, for example, control your LED lights, well, we want to make sure that when you use the remote, we could also update Home Assistant, because maybe you are having at the entrance of your garden, you're using the remote, and then later you're using ESPHome to turn it off. We want to make sure that state in Home Assistant, of course, is always up to date. I think actually another thing, right, coming, Jesse, is images. We want to get easier to show images.
Yeah, so we've been working on sort of display support in ESPHome a lot more. And so, yeah, being able to just pick your display or your media player entity and from Home Assistant and just say, just show me this image. It's something you can't really do with an ESPHome device at the moment in Home Assistant. So we want to be able to make that easier, make it work.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, gentlemen, to both the next product of the Apollo Automation crew and all the new features coming to ESPHome. I want to thank both of you for your participation today. Let's remove this. No, actually, I have the next slide. So there you go. Yes, it is time for the summary, because these were all the segments. Today is a big day for ESPHome. ESPHome is now officially accessible for everyone, no matter if you've been with us for years or that you've just heard about ESPHome today. We achieved this by introducing the new ESPHome Desktop App. This app is available for all platforms, Windows, Mac, and Linux, and it comes with everything you need to build powerful ESPHome devices. It has a new interface built from the ground up to help new users get started with ESPHome, but also to help power users manage their fleet of ESPHome devices, including the option to do remote builds. Yes, we have remote builds now. Now, today we also launched the ESPHome Starter Kit. It is the easiest way to learn how to make your own smart home devices. It comes with a motion, a temperature, and a humidity sensor. It includes a button and an ESPHome logo equipped with 10 LEDs and a buzzer to notify you if something happens. Now, the Starter Kit devices, they help you learn how ESPHome works, but they also end up as usable devices inside your Home Assistant, so they can become part of your automations and your daily life. This is not something you buy, you learn, and you throw away. This becomes useful. This stays useful, sorry. Now, the Starter Kit is going to be available for $40 or 41 euros, which is the recommended price. And each purchase supports the Open Home Foundation and making ESPHome, Music Assistant, and Home Assistant and other projects better. Now, go get one today, and thank you all for watching. Cheers.